Hello, you guys. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to another day of Bookmas. Today, we're going to end off the year strong by doing another ultimate book video where I do a bunch of bookish things with you guys. I'm going to be doing my reading journal and updating all those spreads, reading a book that's on my winter TBR, as well as going book shopping and going to the library, which I am currently in the parking lot of. I'm actually very fortunate and lucky to live in an area that has two libraries that are decently close to me, but I've never brought you guys to this one before, so I'm really excited to bring you guys along. I don't go to this one as frequently because the other one is a little bit closer to me, but this one is a lot bigger than the other one that I normally go to. Today, I'm going to be looking for holiday books that I think I would enjoy. I'm sure they have a whole section where they're featured in the library because they normally do stuff like that for each season. So I want to look in that section. I also just want to see if there's anything that catches my eye that seems wintry, or any books that are on my winter TBR that I don't physically own that I'm not sure if I want to buy or not before I read it, because I want to know how I feel about it before I spend my money on it. So I think we might as well just pop into the library and see what they have today. As you guys already saw, I did end up going to the other library that I said I wasn't going to go to. I did still find some stuff at the first library, which I will end up showing you guys a haul after I'm done book shopping, because that's what we're about to go do right now. But I feel like the second library has a lot more of those tables with the librarian's recommendations or seasonal recommendations, or shelves with those recommendations too, because it's just really nice to get other recommendations, because I feel like the majority of book recommendations I get are online, which is great. But I think it's also really fun to find something fresh and new that I might not have heard about by going to one of those tables or one of those shelves that they have there. So I think that's one of the reasons why I prefer the second library whenever I'm going in and I'm not exactly sure what I'm looking for. But the first library is nice because they have a lot more books just in general. It might be the same books, but they have more quantity of them, which is especially nice whenever I'm wanting to read a very specific book. And I don't know. I just had a lot of fun going to both libraries. It's just a fun little library bookstore crawl day. Speaking of a bookstore though, I'm currently in the Barnes & Noble parking lot right now, and I know for a fact I want to walk away with one book in particular, which you guys will see whenever we go in, and I'm very excited about reading this book. But there's definitely a few others that are on my radar that I would like to take home as well. And there's also a few books that I've gotten from the library recently that I would love to buy physically, just because I love them so much and would love to have them on my shelves. But I guess we'll have to see if they even have them in there and how much money I'm looking to spend today. So let's just go ahead and pop into Barnes & Noble and see what I can find. just got home from my little library and book shopping excursion, so let's go ahead and do a haul. We'll go in the order of operations, starting with the first library, the second, and then Barnes & Noble. I got 2 books at the first library. The first one I just found as I was perusing the shelves, and that is The Royal Holiday by Jasmine Guillory. I've never heard of this. I have heard of this author though, but I've never read anything by her, and this, whenever I read the back of the book, immediately reminded me of something that would happen in a cheesy fun Netflix movie, and I enjoy those most of the time. Like, they just make me feel very nostalgic, and I feel like they're just very comforting and wholesome. This is about our main character Vivian, and her daughter is going to England for a work trip, so she ends up tagging along, and the work trip is for somebody in the royal family. And so while Vivian's there, she's just vacationing, having a good time, but she also may or may not be falling in love with Malcolm, who is the press secretary for the Queen. And I don't know, it just sounded fun, sounded a little cheesy. It's also around 300 pages, which I feel like is the perfect length for just like a cheesy, fun holiday romance. So I'm excited for this one. I feel like if I'm in the perfect mood for it, I'm really gonna love it, which I can feel that Christmas cheer coming in, so this is gonna be perfect. And then the other book that I got was a graphic novel. It is The Firelight Apprentice by Brie Paulson. I read 2 graphic novels by her in the month of October, and I really enjoyed them. They were Garlic and the Witch and Garlic and the Vampire. Those were children's, and this one is young adult, so it's more for like teens. And since I really enjoyed those, I was curious as to what else she has published, and this was one of the only other things that I could find, so I was really excited that my library had it. I really don't know what this one's about, but I know it's following 2 sisters, and I just really like her art style, and I enjoyed her storytelling in those, so I feel like I'm really gonna enjoy it in this as well. And I've been wanting to get in more graphic novels, so I'm really excited to see what I think of this. Okay, sorry if the angle's a little bit different. My battery did just indeed die, but from the second library I ended up getting one holiday romance, and that is All I Want Is You by Fallon Ballard. I read 2 books by her so far. I think I read them last year. I read Just My Type, which I absolutely loved, and then Right on Cue, which I honestly did not like at all, and I didn't like it so much that I am unhauling it from my book collection. So needless to say, I am really curious to see what my thoughts are going to be on this one. This is following our main character Jessica. She's a writer, and her biggest rival is her ex Nick. They end up both having to go to a little inn before Christmas for this work trip, and then there's a snowstorm that keeps them in. I have an assumption that this is rivals to lovers and a second chance romance, which I do enjoy those tropes quite a bit. And also, whenever I picked this one up, I was really shocked to see that it is under 250 pages. I feel like that's just very short and sweet and to the point, especially for a holiday romance. I don't really like whenever they're dragged out. It is 243 pages, so I'm excited for this. I feel like this is going to hopefully be something that I enjoy, and I'm interested to see what I think of her writings. This is the 3rd book that I've read by her. Hopefully I enjoy it, and then I can read her other book that's out, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see. We have a little Melly tail in the background. As you can see, she's kind of pissy with me because it's her dinner time, but I'm about to feed her after I film this, so we gotta make this part quick, and it should be quick because I only have 1 book to talk about that I got from the bookstore, and that is Oathbound by Tracy Dion. This is the finale to what is currently out of the Legendborn cycle. I have been absolutely devouring this series this year, and I really want to finish it before the end of the year. It's on my 10 before the end, so I'm really glad that I ended up purchasing this. I have my other copies back here, and they're both paperback, and I'm a little upset that this one isn't out in paperback yet, because whenever you line these up in publication order, they have a sword that is like connecting whenever you put them together, and this one doesn't have that. And then I assume the 4th one also won't, because it's probably going to be in hardback whenever I get it. I want to have it closest to whenever it comes out as possible, because I'm just gonna want to read it whenever it comes out. So that's a little bit disappointing, and I was gonna wait to buy this because I do have a Libby hold for it and just wait for the paperback, but if I'm gonna get the 4th one whenever it's hardback anyways, I just don't really care. But I'm really excited to have the completed series so far and to see what I think of this last one. I was going to buy a few different books while I was there. 2 on my radar that I was talking about earlier that I absolutely love that I got from the library are The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sangu Mandana and If We Were Villains by ML Rio. But there was a special edition of If We Were Villains, and it had like red sprayed edges on a white paperback cover, and the red sprayed edges were not only getting on the cover and making it a mess, it was also getting on my fingers. So don't want that. And then the Very Secret Society copy that they had was kind of scuffed and just wasn't the best quality, so I didn't get that. I also really want to buy The Nightingale and Atmosphere, but I already have a Kristen Hanna book currently on my physical TBR, so I figured I'd wait until I read the other one. And then I also don't want to get Atmosphere yet because I feel like I don't want to read that
this year for some weird reason. I want to read it at the beginning of next year because I know I'm gonna absolutely love it. I mean, kind of same with The Nightingale. I just feel like I'm really gonna connect with those books and adore them. So I want to wait and start off next year with a bang with those two books. And I know that might sound kind of weird, but I just feel like I'm not mentally ready for them yet because I know they're gonna also crush my soul. So I'm gonna wait until next year for those, but I'm still really, really, really excited about them for whenever I do eventually go out and purchase them. I feel like it's also just gonna be more fun to purchase them right before I read them too. It's gonna feel more like an event, you know, whenever a new book comes out. And I can purchase it from Barnes whenever I'm about to read it and then start it there and then take it home. And I don't know, I just feel like it's more of an experience that way and I'm really looking forward to it.
I'm currently reading The Most Wonderful Crime of the Year by Ali Carter. I am on page 142 and I just hit 50% of the way through and I'm really enjoying it so far. I've also been hybrid reading it, so I have been listening to it a little bit over the past 2 days that I've been reading it. It's honestly really fast paced and it's pretty short. I feel like the plot's pretty fun too, especially for a Christmas romance. We're following our two main characters, Maggie and Ethan. They're both authors. He writes thrillers and she writes cozy mysteries. And it's enemies to lovers, but romance enemies to lovers, not like fantasy enemies to lovers where, you know, they want to like off each other. They just really don't like each other, or at least she doesn't really like him. And they both get invited to this very well-renowned famous author's house in England and end up spending Christmas there. And there ends up being some mysterious things that happen while they're there. It's almost like a murder mystery mixed with Christmas, which is kind of fun. And also just like different for a Christmas romance. I think that over the past few years, I've just started to realize that Christmas romances are very hit or miss if there's not another plot line going on, just because they're very like samey and cookie cutter and sometimes just a little bit too cheesy for me. But this one, because there's that mystery element, it just makes it even more exciting just because it's a little bit something different. I feel like I'm in the perfect mood for this book too. I did just finish Firefly Lane and that was an absolute tearjerker. So I needed something like this that was super fast paced and fun and just like a quick, enjoyable read. And that's definitely what I'm getting from this. I actually did just get Ethan's perspective too. So it is dual POV, but it's kind of like mainly Maggie's book with like a little bit of sprinkle of Ethan in there, at least so far. I personally love dual POV, especially in a romance book. I feel like it just adds so much. Even if we only do get a few chapters from Ethan's perspective, it's better than getting nothing. Majority of the chapters are really short though, and also the audiobook is really good too. I highly recommend that. I feel like I didn't say that earlier. I feel like there's some deeper themes that have been discussed too, but this is mainly like rom-com-y mystery, which is kind of fun, a little bit genre bending. It's interesting how they explore the deeper themes because this is set over just a few days. It's a very small time frame. So there are a few chapters where you go back in time and you learn about the characters, either things that they have been through separately or little moments of the past that they've had together that have been important to their current relationship today. And I feel like overall for a Christmas romance, I'm enjoying it quite a bit.
I finished The Most Wonderful Crime of the Year by Ali Carter and I really ended up enjoying it. This is probably one of my favorite holiday romances that I've read. It was just really cute and fun. It didn't take itself too seriously. It's probably like a 4-star romance for me. And the book itself was really good, but honestly where this book shines is in the audio format. So if you're wanting to read this, I would highly recommend listening to it or at least hybrid reading it. You can still read it physically, but the audiobook is just really well done. I thought the voice actors did an amazing job. I just got it through Libby. And I feel like for a holiday holiday romance, I'm not really going in really wanting to get that much out of it. I'm just going in for a fun time. So if that's what you're wanting this holiday season, I think you could have a fun time with this. And also, it's not like every other holiday romance because of the mystery elements. And it's also not too cheesy. It does have a little bit of cheese factor, but like, who doesn't love a little bit of cheese in their romance? And with that, I think it's finally time to move on to our next task of this video, which is doing my reading journal. I'm quite behind, if we're gonna be so completely for real right now. The last monthly spreads that I ended up doing were May and June, so I have 5 months left to do, and I've really been enjoying doing a page per month this year, so this makes one full spread, and I really like doing one spread, or I guess 2 months at a time whenever I'm doing the monthly spreads, because I like for them to be a little bit similar in some way, like definitely not the same colors, but kind of has like the same outline and structure almost. That's just the way that I prefer to do it. So today we are going to work on the months of July and August. I will say though, I have been doing a better job at upkeeping with my reading tracker spreads, and I actually filmed me updating them for the months of October and September the other day, so I'll go ahead and include that footage in the video now.
Starting out as always with my monthly and my genre trackers. I feel like these 2 pages are actually pretty easy to fill out because all I have to do is color in a square per book that I read, whether that's on the monthly side or the genre side. But I feel like the hardest part about both these pages is trying to match the right color. I definitely didn't match October right, but it is what it is because I already wrote in all the months at the beginning of the year. So if I do it this way next year, I might write in the months after the fact. But next is my physical TBR page, which I was just adding some new books that I've bought recently, as well as crossing off the books that are on the list that I've read. Next is my reading goal page, and in the video you're watching, I filled it out to 76, which at the time was true, but right now, present day when I'm filming this voiceover, which is the day before you're watching this, I have read 84 out of 100 books this year, which I'm really proud of no matter what, but I do want to try and see if I can get to 100, so if you guys have any recommendations for shorter books, novellas, graphic novels, anything quicker that I can read during the month of December to hit my reading goal, please do let a girl know in the comments. Off of my 2025 TBR, I read Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin and The Wishing Game by Meg Schaefer. Right now when I'm doing this voiceover, I've also read Firefly Lane and An Ember in the Ashes, so I've been working on my 2025 TBR, even though I still do have a ways to go, but it makes me even more glad. If you've already watched my 2026 TBR, you'll know this, but I decided to only do 15 books for next year. I feel like that's just going to be a lot more manageable, and I'm crossing my fingers that I can actually finish a yearly TBR next year since it's going to be a lower amount of books. I feel like my reading bucket list is always one of my favorite pages. Once I fill it all out, it's just so fun and colorful. And whenever I'm filling this spread out, I just go onto my Goodreads and scroll through the books I've read recently and see whichever books can correlate to the bucket list squares that I have, and then just fill in those. I'm not too strict with it. I know by the end of the year, they're all gonna get filled out anyways. And lastly, my series tracker page. I didn't end up finishing any series the past 2 months, but I did end up starting a new series, which was the M&M Lion series that I have been absolutely loving recently. I've been talking about it so much, and I highly, highly, highly recommend that series if you guys have not checked it out yet. It's historical fiction, and it's really good. Here's also a little flip through of what my reading tracker spreads are looking like as of right now, without the months of November and December being tracked. And with that, let's go ahead and move on to me doing my July and August monthly spreads for 2025.
My July and August pages are all finished. I really like how they turned out, as you can see, and if you've seen me do my reading journal before in other videos, I like to pick a color per page that kind of like sets the tone and the theme for the page. This past year with doing my reading journal, I've been very into adding a lot of squiggles everywhere, and I also have this little sticker that I got from a random small business that I've been using to trace a little circle to make a pie chart, which I think is one of my favorite things that I've added to my reading journal this past year. Also today, I decided to do these little cutouts of the letters of how many books I read every month, and I feel like just adds something a little bit different, along with some of the mini scrapbook paper that I cut up to put behind the month's titles. And even though I definitely did mess up a few times while I was doing these pages, like down here, I accidentally wrote the average rating and the total pages on the wrong one, but I just drew an arrow and said like, my bad, like whoops. And then on this one you'll see just like this big like cloud looking squiggly blob right here, and that was actually originally this light blue color because I was gonna draw in 7 books, but hey, it was honestly a happy accident because then I ended up cutting them out and I think they look really good like that. So that honestly just goes to show you that an accident can lead to something new that you haven't done before. And I would definitely say I'm a perfectionist, especially when it comes to like anything creative, but the more I've been doing the reading journal and the less perfectionist I've been about it, I feel like the better it turns out. And also if I make a mistake, like it's totally fine. At the end of the day, like this is just to track my reads for fun. I'm very excited for next year's reading journal already, just because I feel like every year whenever I do it, there's so much that like I learn what I like and what I don't like, and every year I also add new reading journal supplies to my little collection that I have, so it's kind of fun getting to do it with some newer stuff. But also, let me just say, I'll show you my first reading journal because I have all of them in here. Me saying first reading journal, it was literally just last year. Okay, looking at this is actually kind of a crazy comparison. This is what my July and August wrap-ups looked like last year. Like a ton of just random free space. I didn't really know what else to do with like the markers. I was just writing everything down and then adding little dots everywhere. And then I obviously had the books, which I feel like added a lot. I feel like I really do like adding the books, but I also like adding little fun like drawings and elements too, just with the markers. There's so much that you can do just with the markers. But looking at this compared to this, like it is night and day. Like it is astounding what a year can do. So looking at that comparison honestly makes me even more excited to see what my spreads are going to look like next year, and also just like my overall reading tracker spreads that I have at the beginning of each segment of my reading journal that you guys saw me fill out earlier. I just feel like when I did these, I hadn't really cracked the code. I definitely really like this one. This is probably my favorite, and I really like the book stacked up too. It's just like the rest that I'm not 100% loving. I do like this page though too. Now that I think about it, maybe I'm selling myself short a little bit. I just want to take a lot more time with my reading journal in the new year and really make it feel a lot more like me, because like this spread, the March and April one going into May, and then now the July and August one, like I feel like that's kind of what started it all, and now it's making me even more inspired to do my reading journal, which is great because as we all know, I have a lot of work to do on it. Anyways, those are going to be all the reading journal updates we do in this video. I did want to ask though, do you guys prefer whenever I do a voiceover talking about what I'm doing for my reading journal, or do you like it whenever I just have music playing over some of the clips and then show you the finished project afterwards, or do you not really care? Do you like both? I would genuinely love to know, because I love doing my reading journal in these videos with you guys, and I want to do more of it in the new year. If you guys did enjoy this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you watch until this far in the video, go ahead and comment down below the star emojis to know who the real ones are who watched until the end. If you want to keep up with me on the daily, you can follow my socials. They're always linked down below in every single video, and I think that's gonna be it for me today. I love you guys so much. Hope you're all having an amazing day, and I will see you with a new video tomorrow. Bye guys.
As you guys already sold, what does that mean?
Peace.